The stock market sets records every week, which creates a real temptation for people in debt. When you turn on the television, you see ads for everything from financial firms that will guide your money to the perfect investment to apps that make investing easy with just a few taps. You don't want to miss out on the opportunity, but you have debt to pay off, student loans, credit cards, perhaps a mortgage. So what's a better financial move, investing or paying off the debt? Hello and welcome back to the Finance Guardian channel. If you want to know the answer to that question, make sure to watch this video till the end. Hit that subscribe button and the bell beside it, and let's get started. First of all, what is the difference between investing and debt repayment? These two financial moves are like apples and oranges. Most people treat debt and investments as separate functions. Investing is a way to set aside money for the future, ideally in an investment vehicle that grows in value over time, such as stocks, bonds, or mutual funds. On the other hand, debt represents money you have already spent and that you are paying interest for. Leaving that debt unpaid will cause it to grow and grow, with interest charges adding to your balance and incurring further interest charges of their own. Should you prioritize investing? Generally, if investing your money can earn you more interest than paying off your debts, it makes sense to do so. Suppose you have a mortgage with a 5% interest rate and there's an index fund that returns 10% a year. You would come out ahead by investing your extra cash in the index fund. But if you have credit card debt at 20%, you would be better off paying that debt with the extra cash you have rather than investing it in an index fund. Unfortunately, there are times when it's not so straightforward. Investments can be volatile. That index fund could do well this year but fall apart next year. Although there are investments with guaranteed interest rates such as bank certificates of deposits, CDs, and US Treasury bills, the returns on these investments are generally low and rarely exceed those on credit cards and other loans. There is also a psychological factor to consider. That is your risk tolerance. The more comfortable you are with the possibility that your investments will fluctuate with the markets, sometimes rising in value and sometimes falling, the better candidate you are for investing than someone who lays awake at night worrying about how the market will do tomorrow. Should you prioritize paying off debt? Several reasons exist for choosing to pay off debt rather than invest. The first, as I mentioned earlier, is that you might be able to come out ahead if your debt carries a relatively high interest rate. This is especially true for credit card debt. According to data from the Federal Reserve, the average credit card interest rate was 16.17% in the first quarter of 2022. Very few investment opportunities can match that rate of return. Another good reason to pay off debt is to boost your credit score. This number can be crucial if you ever need to borrow money in the future, like for a mortgage or a car loan. A low credit score could mean paying higher interest rates if you're eligible for a loan at all. Some other aspects of your life are even affected by your credit score, like whether or not an insurance provider will cover you, if a landlord will rent to you, or even if an employer will hire you. Credit scores are determined by a variety of factors. FICO, the most widely used score, takes into account your credit utilization ratio, or the amount of credit you are currently utilizing compared to the amount of credit you have on hand to calculate your score. Thus, someone with maxed out credit cards would likely have a much lower score than someone whose credit cards have been paid off or at least decreased to a more manageable level. Paying off debt, especially if you have a lot of it, is a smart decision for that reason alone. Just like with investing, psychology also plays a role in this. If you're having trouble sleeping because of your debts, it might be better off for you to repay them first, even if investing could give you a better return. Should you invest and pay off debt? The rule of thumb is that you should both pay debts and invest. It doesn't have to be an either-or decision. You can and sometimes should do both. With a balanced approach to wealth management, both today's needs and tomorrow's goals will be met. Every individual's needs and circumstances are unique. For instance, if you don't have an emergency fund yet, you might want to set one up using some of your money while paying down your debts with the rest. Your emergency fund should be kept in a low-risk, highly liquid investment such as a money market fund. How to pay off debts? If you've decided to pay off your debts with your spare cash, the next question is how to go about it. The answer is pretty simple if you have enough money to cover everything you owe. Simply pay them off. The problem is that if you don't have that much cash to spare, you'll have to prioritize. Generally speaking, if you start by paying off your debt with the highest interest rate first and work your way down from there, you'll get out of debt faster. Think about this. If you have balances on two credit cards, one which charges 20% and the other 15%, your first step should be to eliminate the 20% balance. If you have credit card debt, you may also be able to lower the interest rate. A way to reduce your rates is to improve your credit score, which means paying on time and lowering your utilization rate, how much credit you're allowed versus how much you use. In case that seems difficult on your own, you might want to consider a debt management program or debt consolidation. Debt management plan. A debt management plan with a nonprofit credit counseling agency can help you consolidate debt and lower your interest payments. In exchange for eliminating your credit card debt, you may make one affordable monthly payment to the agency. Upon receiving the funds, the agency distributes them to your lenders at an agreed-upon rate, allowing you to settle the debt in 3 to 5 years. As you make payments on time and the amount you owe shrinks, your credit score improves. The monthly administrative fee for debt management plan ranges from $30 to $50. Debt consolidation to improve credit. Debt consolidation involves borrowing money at a lower interest rate and using that money to repay your credit cards. You can secure the loan by using an asset such as your house as collateral to reduce the interest rate. You can also get an unsecured personal loan without collateral but with a higher interest rate. You may want to think about investing the money that would normally be going toward paying that high interest rate if your debt consolidation loan has a lower interest rate than the average return on investment. If you're really deep in debt, you may want to consider some more drastic measures if your spare cash isn't enough to make a dent in your debts. The first thing you should do if you're having trouble making even the minimum monthly payments on your credit cards or other debts is to contact your lender. It may be willing to lower the minimum payment on your debt or your interest rate. A second option is to hire a reputable debt relief company to negotiate on your behalf. There are a lot of scams in this area, so make sure you know who you're dealing with. The Federal Trade Commission notes, these operations often charge cash-strapped consumers a large upfront fee but then fail to help them settle or lower their debts if they provide any service at all. Having a bit of extra cash is an enviable situation. It is up to you to decide whether to invest that money or pay off your debts. In either case, the money is better spent than simply wasted. No matter what course you choose, you'll be in a better financial position than before. One last tip: don't ignore your emotions. If paying off a certain debt will make you feel more secure, go with your gut. You may also consult a financial advisor before you decide. Finally, be sure to identify some milestones that you want to reach and celebrate modestly as you reach them. And that's all the time that we have today, folks. We hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button. If you're new around here, subscribe to our channel to remain updated about all of our future videos. We'll see you next time.